Focus on the what and the why, and let the how unfold.
Yes, this video today is really about your ability to be decisive. And often we lose our way because we're so focused on the form and not paying attention to the essence. And what do we mean by that?
Well, it's anytime someone asks us to do something different or think about what you may have not thought about, it's always, well, I don't know how to do that. Or just tell me, we all know what to do as far as, let's say, eating, right? Or what's right to eat, or got to be in the right fitness and whatever else. Just tell me what to do. Well, is that the answer? Because we don't want to go study the how, because the how is so daunting.
Well, it's really the root or the cause of analysis paralysis. So anytime we want to make a change or we want to do something we've never done before, we get stopped in our tracks because we're way too focused on this how. So it isn't really the road to getting started. My name is Trisha Ramos. I'm a certified high performance coach.
And I'm Raju Panjwani, certified leadership coach. So both Trisha and I have spent over 20 years in corporate America. And we understand when something new is about to happen, what it causes. Causes freezing because you are not focused on the why and the what, but rather the how. So tell you a little story. This is a very interesting story. We met a year ago at a mastermind, like a seminar and a workshop, and got to know each other a little bit about, because Trisha was doing coaching and I was figuring out where I wanted to go next after my 5 startups. And fast forward 4 months later, one morning I'm waking up, it's January 2020, I think it was the end of January, and I called her up and I say, hey, I don't know why, but do you want to do something with me in India? And
I said, yeah, sure.
And that was just the pat answer. And to be honest, because we tend to believe in the inner self, and you wake up with a notion and you say that's an idea. I actually had no clue what I was asking her to do with me in India, because I had a notion that I'm from India. I did some work in India, and I figured I had one of my startups or 2 of my startups in India. Hey, I know people in India, and maybe we could start this coaching business. Maybe play safe, and maybe that's what I was thinking. So I called her up for support, really, in a way. And the next thing I know, she says yes. And the rest, as they say, is history. So we scrambled. We worked on what it might look like. So we had 2-day workshops in 3 cities planned. Everything was going so fast, all in the space of 2 weeks. We had a full plan, venues booked, airline ticket booked.
Affiliate set up.
And I go, wow.
Landing page set up so people can register. And we started inviting people, and we started building a curriculum for the 2-day events. It was really, I have to say, it was so exciting, because I think that whenever you're doing something that you've never done before, you can either take on the emotion of fear, or you can take on the emotions of excitement and wonder and curiosity. And I had really, coming off of a year where I quit my job a year and a half ago, I really started to feel more confident about living life more with this adventure mentality, letting things unfold. And so when I got that phone call and you asked me, do I want to go to India? I didn't really need details. To me, it was like, sure, I've never been to India. That sounds amazing.
And the fact that you didn't take 30 seconds of silence, nothing. And so I felt I was probably deep down looking for some support. On the other hand, because I was worried about what this business is going to look like. And in those 2 weeks after that we started working together, that's when livemasterminds.com was born, right?
Yes.
And truly, it wasn't like you had 50% information to make the decision. You certainly had none, except you'd never been to India and you just met this Indian guy, and who the hell, sounds like a nice guy. But just for a woman to get out there and just go into the unknown, that's bold. Okay. And so as far as decisive, I knew that this is a business I wanted to be in. It was the next thing, that the next phase of my life, that I was going to help other business entrepreneurs, help them with greater freedom and flexibility in their life, so they could be more influential.
And I didn't know exactly what we were going to do, but I knew who you were and I knew what your mission was. And I wanted to be a part of a mission that involved being of service to empower other humans.
Right.
So that is something I'm very much connected to. And I thought, if this opportunity is presenting itself to me, it must be because I'm ready for it. And yes, of course, we'll figure out the logistics, we'll figure out all that fun stuff. But this is a moment of decision. And the idea that I could go somewhere that I've never been to, and
right.
The idea that we could help these business owners and entrepreneurs and give them, 2 days worth of really matched, incredible, lifetime, universal lessons that we had been exposed to for many years. The idea that we could then spread that message to, potentially, I think it was 300 people. Is that what we were thinking?
No,
150 people.
150 people.
Yes.
So 50 in each city. And It was just, when you are so clear about what you want to do and why you want to do it, that's it. Everything else paled in significance. We didn't know. I mean, the fact that she went with almost zero information, and I may have had except that I could count on a few people as affiliates or relationships, I didn't know either. So, but the why became so clear. And, it's that passion for why you want to do something that drove us, and so on the day of the flight, to give you another story, we got a call from a very close friend of mine who was canceling all his trips. It was March 8th. That was our departure. And he said, are you...
March 8th, 2020, in case you're watching this another year.
March 8th,
we know what happened on March 13th, 2020. Basically, the entire world went into lockdown. So we were about 5 days out.
Yeah, so you could say we had the warning, some way of somebody saying, maybe you don't want to leave. And we said, well, the flight's leaving, so we're going. And so that's how we went. We had no idea what was going to happen. And it was embracing that uncertainty, but we were clear and we decided on that moment. And, long story short, what happens, we all know how the story unfolds as far as of COVID-19, the pandemic. We were stuck in a hotel we were locked down for 20 days almost, beyond the initial freedom we had of traveling and figuring out our logistics, et cetera, of the how. And it kept unfolding. And the venue shut us down. We couldn't do anything. But were we fearful?
No, we pivoted. We gave ourselves permission to pivot, and we decided to hold these free Zoom calls that we had sent out to the list of the people who had already bought tickets, agreed to attend. And we decided to do these free calls. First, it was just one call, and then 2 calls. And then over the course of 10 days, it became 7 calls. And then we flew back with a monthly subscription model in place. And we now had members that we were speaking with monthly. And that came out of that. So.
Right. And so now it's been, 4 more months since then. And we've already graduated, the first batch that joined our sessions. It's been awesome.
There's so much.
There's so much.
we can't tell you all of it. The point is that so much came out of, him allowing himself, having the courage to put it out there and ask. Because a lot of times we don't even state what we're thinking because we're judging ourselves too harshly. And you know what I love about Michael Jordan? He has this quote that he says, "Why would I worry about missing a shot that I hadn't even taken yet?" Yeah. And that was amazing that you woke up that day and you just went with your gut. Made no sense, but you just went with it. And then for me, I had no information, but same thing, it felt right deep down inside. And so I just said yes. Because that's the thing, if we allow ourselves to tap into that inner knowing that is available to all of us, we actually have more clarity than we think. And clarity doesn't come when you think you have all the information. More clarity comes from being in momentum, from getting into action, and from allowing yourself to make choices and to then discern, oh, does this feel good? Does this feel good? So clarity comes out of you not sitting on the sidelines, waiting for time to go by, waiting for the conditions to be right. Clarity comes when you take the current conditions and then you be creative with it and you make it be what you think it ought to be.
Now, you could also argue, hey, this is impulse that you went on. Well, there's a difference between impulse and instinct and intuition. So, you know, I had done enough work to know that this was intuition. I had no explanation for it. Well, that's what intuition is. An impulse, like an impulse buying decision or something, is a little different. I would recognize some of that, the difference between that. So, you know, you could say you sit there, you know, you don't have all the information. I can't make up my mind. Let this pandemic go away. We'll deal with it in 2021, whatever your dreams are. I'm busy with other things to do, busy work. I have to wait for other things to happen to bear fruit. I want to have enough money saved first. You can add to any laundry list of excuses, frankly, but you don't have any time. It's difficult. Yes, all of these things are still your how. So the how trips you up. But truly, Tricia talked about clarity. But you need, you know, you could sit there and worry about the how, but when you clear about the what and the why, just start. And starting gives you momentum. Momentum gives you results, even if they're small.
And the best time to start is now. Right now, this present moment. If there's something that you have been wanting to start, what would happen if you gave yourself the permission to actually start now? Because listen, all the excuses that we have, the money, you know, somebody's not supporting me, all these things will always exist. The shame, you know, the fear. By the way, the fear of doing, you know, being in uncertainty, navigating through that doesn't go away until you actually just start navigating through it. And so getting in action now is the key, because time is something that none of us ever get back. Money comes and goes, it's energy, right? If you're using that as an excuse not to do something, understand this: money will come and go, but time you will never get back.
Right. So what's the saying goes, what is the right time to plant a tree? Well, big tree 20 years ago, the second is now.
Right now.
So you can wait and wait if you have these dreams that you're putting on hold. This moment never comes back.
And to connect to your why, really think about, why is it that you want to do this? Give yourself the time and the space to journal. You know, ask yourself, what is keeping me from starting? Because maybe it's not even that big of a deal, but sometimes when it's just floating in our minds, it appears to be bigger than it really is. And then you get it down on paper and you read it and you say it out loud and you hear yourself and you're like, oh, that's actually silly. Why have I been allowing that to stop me? And then ask yourself, do I want to be in the same place a year from now as I am today? And if you don't know how to answer that, ask yourself if your family or the people counting on you or your clients, people who are looking up to you, ask yourself if you think they deserve you being exactly the same person a year from now as you are today. Because sometimes we miss the point when we're thinking of ourselves, but the minute we reconnect to the people who matter most to us, and we remember what kind of influence we play in their lives, it calls us up to be a better version of ourselves.
You know, earlier you mentioned essence over form, right? In some respect. And truly, we had no idea, going back to the story of livemasterminds.com, that this is where we'll be today. And that was just 6 months ago. And you don't have to know. We just knew we were in movement. We knew we were going to move forward. We were not going to look back. And truly, Do you think that we've had a lot of problems dealing with this stuff? Figuring out the models, figuring out social media, figuring out how to do these videos? Oh my God.
Yes, and sure, we've had moments of doubt. Are we good enough? Is anyone even going to pay attention? Are people going to pay us for this? You know what? Our mentor, one of our favorite mentors, says that doubt is a signal to keep pushing so that you can figure things out.
Yeah.
That's all it is. That is actually what doubt is. It's a signal so that you know you just have to keep going to figure things out. Don't let that first no, that first hurdle, that first obstacle stop you.
It's easy to say, hey, that didn't work. See, I told you. No. If you're so clear about why you want to do it, you're going to try again. And you're going to try again. You're going to try again. So how often do you really try? Try to take this pen from me, Tricia.
Well,
there is no trying. But yes, you need to pivot. If some things don't work, it's trial and error. There is a reason for that. But that's our mind runs so wild. You imagine the worst possible things that are going to happen to pursue your dream, and we don't even start.
What would happen if you imagine the best possible outcome?
Yeah.
And the more you do that, you'll be surprised at how quickly the external reality that you're experiencing, how quickly it can shift. Because when you start imagining, things working out for you in your favor, you notice different things, you pay attention to different people, different, circumstances, and you feel differently. Man, that's when the shift really begins. Mm-hmm. And not only are you feeling more clear at that point, you're also starting to feel more confident. And when you have more confidence, you're going to be more bold and courageous in whatever is, being presented in front of you. Now we realize we're sharing with you what seems like a really easy thing to do. And if that were the case, more people would be doing it, but that's not the truth. So we want to offer you a strategy session. And to sign up for that, click on the link below, because we know how important it is to be able to have a conversation with somebody who can be objective with your situation, someone who don't really know you that well, who doesn't really know you that well, so that, they can perhaps challenge you, hold you accountable, and perhaps tell you where you might be playing small or where your thinking might be limiting your progress.
Or also help you with clarity around your what and the why, because this is about the what and the why. And, this is one-on-one with us, or well, two-on-one with you based on your situation, so that you get our full attention, and then we help you navigate this ambiguity that you may be dealing with. And we will help you leave aside the how and focus on your why, so you feel it deep down here.
So
click below.
Take this present moment right now. You're here for a reason. You're seeing this for a reason. Click below for the link and schedule your session now.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.